and then we design the client that will invoke these three types of MEP that will use this MEP. So either you create a separate project for each of them, like one for this trying out with the first one, or you can combine all these three MEP into a single project or into a single service. For that, you need to provide the three different kinds of operations. One for one way is one way equal to true, setting that property, or you can then request reply. By default it is false, then it will be request reply. And third kind of duplex, in that case we have to implement the interface on the client side. And other than that, if you have any doubt in the previous lecture or in previous lab, then we can also discuss them during right now. And normally what you do, we have seen that many times if you find any error, so what you have to do, first test only service. Okay, don't develop all the three projects together and start with client. First you write down the service and test the service using the WCF test client, and that way you will be confident that there is no issue in the service. Otherwise what happens, if we have created the service, referred it in the host, and then we are writing client, and then we are hosting it and then running client, it might be the issue with the service itself. The operation itself are not working correctly, or they might be throwing some exception at runtime. So to avoid that, what you do, you have to use the WCF test client to test the service before you actually host and design the client. Okay, so all of you follow this approach. First you design the service, then you test it using the WCF test client, then you start developing host and host it on the host it on your host application, and then you develop the client. So that way at least you are sure that the problem is not with the service. Then there is a problem with either hosting, or and if there is a problem with the hosting, it will throw an exception during the hosting. Okay, so at least test it before you develop the host or client. Is it clear? Any doubt? So at least you try it out right now. So utilize this time, and if you have already spent some efforts before the lab and if you are facing some issues, then also you can discuss it right now. Maybe in the previous lab or some other labs or some other lectures you might have tried, then you are not getting the expected output. That also we can discuss right now.
Now let us see this formula. So if left something false, that is nothing but summation of probability of all the people.
And for further details, you can refer to the official documentation of the Microsoft. Okay, on the Microsoft website, you will find out a detailed description of this, all the concepts that we have covered so far. Because in the lectures, we are normally covering the implementation and the basic concepts. But if you want to go into the more detail, you can refer to the official documentation, which is updated time to time. So there, if there are any changes or some new things, new features are being added, then you will find out the latest information on the official documentation of Microsoft. And you will also find out many examples on the website. So many examples are readily available that also you can download and readily test it. So Ankit sir has said the link to the official documentation. So while you are referring to the official documentation, make sure that you are referring to the appropriate version, appropriate .NET framework version, because some of the documentation might refer to the .NET Core. But anyway, for WCF, it is not available in the .NET Core. So normally you will be redirected to a .NET Framework documentation, because few things like MVC, EF are now available for the .NET Core also. So you will find two parallel documentation for the same concept, right? So make sure that you are referring to the correct version of the particular concepts available in the documentation. So on the website, you will find out both the theory as well as some example code also. And if you are done with one of the MEP, at least update in the message box that you have tested the one-way request reply duplex, so that we know that how many of you have able to how many you are able to complete the demo application that we have discussed in the class. So whatever progress, just update in the chat box, and if you find any difficulty, let me know.
Loop 1,
Keval, can you share your screen?
inside that there is loop 3. So by looking at this also you can say it is roughly order of NQ. You can roughly say that it is of order of NQ. Because no loop can
Sir,
be
is it visible?
more than
Yes.
Sir, this is the service library. So when I debug it, so I got a message like
so
this.
roughly it is order of NQ. Or you, this way also you can.
WCF service host cannot find any service metadata.
Are you getting this?
So right now you are writing the
Service library
service.
code.
So when you build it, it throws an error.
No, sir. The if I just here, I am not able to get the
Okay,
two
okay,
service.
yeah. The reason is see that app.config file.
And I have taken
Open app.config file and see that what is the service name, what is the service contract.
taken the same
Yeah, yes, sir. It is a service one, but I have here iService MAP.
Yeah, so that's why it is not running. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
You
Sir, I
to
need to write iService or
yeah,
some service class
yeah, only interface name.
interface.
just you can compare this. I'm creating all this W cost and root value, row by row. So if you
I
compare
think I
this
need to
value
write to
with
service class.
our calculated value, you can see that this is 0.4 final value. And then cost of BSC is 32, and this is by 3.
Yes, sir. Now I'm getting the operations.
Yeah. So see that when we by default it will generate the scaffolded code. So in that it has already given the name iService1
Yes,
and
sir.
service
I
1.
need to
That's why.
change that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
That is in the left of you. In the right of you, there is 3. And right
Hello, Zuzar, can you share your screen?
Yes, sir. Sir, when I am running the client, it is
Huh.
saying that the endpoint is not found.
So at that time, are you running the host?
No, sir, at that time I am not running yours.
So how it will be able to make connection?
So I need to run the host first.
Yes, first you need to run the host and then you need to run the client.
Okay, sir. I will try it.
And not only in this application, all the application, because the host is running the service instance. How can you access it? Okay, if you are not running host, how the client will access the service?
Yes. Sir. No, sir. Still, it's getting null. Yeah.
How many endpoints are there?
One.
And can you show that code? It is declarative or by code you are writing this? In the app.config
By
you are
code.
defining endpoints?
Yes, sir.
Okay, one endpoint of WS HTTP binding, right? Okay, you close all the both the application and then first open the host and then you open the client. First close client and host.
So first I run the host.
Yes, yes.
That is running. See, this is running. Now when I will run this, null.
I think you close the client first. Stop the client. Now close the host also.
Yes, that is closed.
Now you open the host folder by right clicking the project name, host application.
Now,
Open folder in File Explorer.
okay.
Go to bin debug folder. Bin folder. There is an application. Yeah, you run that application. Fourth one.
Four.
No, not that one. Fourth.
Yes.
Yeah, see that now I think it is showing an error because it is unable to run.
Yes.
So there is a problem with the host.
I think so. No, sir, it is running now.
It is running. Okay, now it is running. Okay, now you do the same thing for the client. Open the client folder and run the application. Now you try out.
So why it was not running? First?
Okay. But still, I think some exception is thrown. What is the error? I am unable to read it. Could not find metadata.
Same, that error only.
You have to, I think, you have to update the service reference because I think it has not been updated and the name is not reflected properly.
Okay.
It looks so. So, in case if you have modified your host, you have modified endpoints, you need to update the client service
Okay.
reference in the client app.
Okay.
So in the client app, there is a service reference. You right click the service reference, and there is an option of updating it.
Okay. No.
You to type in that
Service reference.
base URL.
Where, sir?
In your app.config file, there is a base URL. You copy paste that URL over here. Okay, cancel it first of all. Let's start with the cancel. Click on cancel button.
This new project.
Now go to the client. What is the project name for the client?
This WCF client MEP.
Okay, then you remove that
Sir,
service reference too.
let me try with this new service reference. I think I updated the service.
So you have to remove the old service reference.
No, still it's not working.
You can remove the service reference too also, or you can try right click the service reference too. Right click the service reference too.
Yes, then.
And there is a update service reference option. Second.
Okay. Done.
Okay. So what you do, you go to the host project folder, host application project folder, and run the service from that. Run the host. I think we already opened that folder. Open folder in File Explorer. Okay, there is an option. Right click on the host application.
On the host. Okay.
Yeah. And you run the host now. No, not from this option. You close this.
From here.
Yes, you close this form. You go to the so there is an application. Yeah, you have to run this. You double click it. Yeah. So why it is again the same
Could
app.
not register. Yes.
Okay. Now you go to the client folder. Still you are getting could not.
That same error, sir.
So only the name is incorrect, I think. That
Yes, sir.
the name is incorrect. That iService MEP, the name, and you will also see that service reference to. I think there is a older reference of the service reference to, or I think it is new one.
No, sir, this is new one.
Service reference to. So see the app.config file on the client side. It is properly updated. See that you can just hide this toolbox and other. What you can do, you can see that you should not change it manually. I think there is a possibility of typo if you change it manually, because this file is updated when you do add service reference. Okay, when we do add service reference, this file will be automatically updated.
Yes, sir.
So again, you can try to remove that part and then add the service reference from the scratch. You can delete the service reference too. It will automatically delete the content into this file. Now you'll see that now the file is clear. Okay, app.config
Yes.
file. Now you add the service reference, and during that time you keep the host open.
Okay.
You have to run the host.
Yes. I need to run it from that.
In the client, do add the service reference.
Yes, sir. That. Now it's showing error in this also.
I think you are running as an admin.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, now this host is also not running.
You run it as an admin. It is throwing an error.
Yes, I am running as admin.
Because it is, I think, the port error or another. Yeah, see that your
Address already in use.
it is already running. The host is already running. That's why it is giving error.
Yes.
See that somewhere the
Mhm.
host is already running.
Yes, here it is running.
Yeah, that's
Now
why
I am
you are
adding-
rerun. Now you can add
Service
service reference. Yeah.
This one is found. No.
Mm. So see that from the host you copy the base URL. Don't do this. You go to the don't do this right now. Don't
Okay.
click OK.
This URL.
Yeah. This you copy paste this URL. And now in the add service reference option, you paste it. Because there might be multiple.
On
And
service.
yes, now you click on OK.
Here, service.
Yeah, you have to change it to back to service reference 1.
Now,
And just a minute. Mm,
now running.
yeah, I think now the binding is properly done.
Yes. Now it's running.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Keval, you can share your screen. What is the error?
Yes, sir. So in my case, the app.config is not automatically populated. And when I try to discover the service, it's showing like this.
This is your base URL for the host.
Yes, sir. Here you can see.
So if you click on OK, does it generate the app.config file?
No, sir. No, sir. So let me do it. Oh, no.
So
Mhm.
check the app.config file of the client, because there
Yes,
will
sir.
be, yeah. So this is the app.config file of the client. It is not updated
Yes, sir.
after adding service reference.
Yes, sir. This is my error.
Actually, it should do. You can remove the service reference, delete, and right now host is running or not?
Yes, sir. It is running.
Okay. Now once again you add the service reference, and now show me the your hosting code.
Sir, app.config, sir.
Yeah. This is the app.config on the host side, right?
Host side. Yes, sir.
Okay. And see that the binding is wrong. You are using web HTTP binding.
Ooh. It is WS.
Right, so that's why it might be causing some issue,
Yes,
right?
sir. I think now once again I need to run. So still it too.
Why it is showing two? The service MEP. Okay, you can click on OK, but does it update the app.config file?
No, sir.
You can remove this file, app.config file also.
Sir, from client side.
Also remove the service reference.
Service reference.
And this is the hosting partner. I think.
Yes, sir. Hosting. Sir, this binding is right.
And what is the metadata? Can you show the metadata behavior part?
Yes, sir.
Okay, HTTP, it is already true. Okay. And contract is this iService MEP. Just check the binding, the name in the binding type. WS HTTP binding. Is it correct? WS HTTP binding. Yeah, it's correct. So
Yes, sir.
So there is no typing mistake in that.
Yes, sir.
So address binding and contracts is correct. So it this is fine. I think this is fine. No issue in the host. And now you can save all the file. Yeah, and now you build the host again. Only host part. Okay, now you again add service. You run the host again. I think, is it running now?
So now running.
Yeah, again you repeat the add service reference part.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Now it is generated.
So there was some issue maybe.
Yes, sir.
Now you try it out whether it is.
Yes, sir. Okay.
can try it out.
So actually code is remaining, but here I was looking for the binding, but my app.config is not populated. That's why.
So I think there was some issue with that app.config file. It was might
Yes,
be
sir.
locked due to some reason, and it was not being overwritten or updated by the this operation
Yes, sir.
add service reference.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Rikin, go ahead.
Hello, sir. Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes, I can see.
Sir, I am getting an error in the message exchange pattern duplex while creating the service.
Okay, and what is the error message?
Yes, 1 minute. This error is showing.
Okay, it is not readable. Can you just read
Okay,
it?
okay. 1 minute, 1 minute.
Okay, contact request duplex. Okay. So I think you have used basic HTTP binding, right, in host. And I
Yes,
think in Sir's slide, Sir has suggested to use that dual HTTP binding, right? You can just refer to that slide once for the
1
hosting
minute.
of duplex. Just check that out.
Sir, which?
Duplex slide. I think it is there in the second part of WCF, which Sir has shared.
This one, sir.
Hosting part, yes. Yes, this PDF only, yes. Check the hosting code and check the binding.
Sir, but I have not created the host now. I am only creating the service.
Okay, then also, you are right now in WCF service library project, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
But then also, if you want to use that duplex kind of communication, you need to change the binding, because by default we get basic HTTP. Basic HTTP does not support duplex communication, right?
Okay, means I have to create host and then check for if it
Yes,
gives
that
error or
is
not.
one way, or you can modify the app.config file. But in that case, you won't be able to properly test it, right? Because
Okay,
we want to see the duplex communication ideally, right?
okay.
But still, you can try it out. Right now, you can change this basic HTTP binding to that dual HTTP binding. Just check out that slide. Sir has given the exact binding type in the
Okay,
slides
1
of
minute, sir.
hosting. Yes. Yeah, it is WS dual, right?
Yes, sir. 1 minute.
Yeah. If still it does not work, then you might have to go with the hosting and then client. Yes. Yes. Now try to compile it once again and
Okay, sir. It has been
yeah, it
created.
is running fine now, right?
Okay,
So
sir.
now
Thank
test
you.
it out. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And yes, one more thing, that is, even if you are implementing duplex contract on the WCF service library part, I think you won't be able to test it, because one operation that is written in the callback contract, that is going to be implemented on the client side, right, Rikin? You have to implement that interface which you have declared on the service, and that operations body is defined in the client side. So anyways, you will have to implement the host and the client, right? You might not be able to test using test client, right? So I think that point is clear to you, right, Rikin? Yes. Okay. So others also, I think you are clear with this part, right? If you are implementing a duplex kind of service, right, you won't be able to test it using test client, because one operation is yet to be implemented, and that is there on the client side. So now I think as sir has suggested earlier, you can implement a progress tracking kind of application whenever you have time. Suppose service is doing some complex computation and it is going to take some time, and you want to check how much progress has been made, right? Suppose you have asked the service to process a report, right? Or let us say generate a report, and service can in turn respond with the status that the report has been created 50%, report has been created 70%. So I think, can we implement this using duplex way of communication? Client would be free after calling the service, right? But service would be keep on sending the status to the client that report is 5% ready, report is 10% ready, and so on, right? So client can do whatever it wants to, right? But still, you will be able to maintain two-way communication, right? That is the benefit of this duplex mechanism. Okay. Fine. So if you all are clear, do submit your lab works if they are pending on time, right? The deadline for this lab would be definitely after the sessional, but make sure that you have submitted your earlier labs. If you have missed out anything, just check your classroom submissions and do it as soon as possible. Okay. Okay, fine. So then you can leave the meeting. Have a good day ahead. Let's end this session for today, right?